Welcome to Vintage Burn. This is Kev.
Marco.
And Doug.
Doug, are you putting your name on this podcast tonight?
So far, yeah, I think so.
Well, as everybody knows...
I just finished listening to the second half of the awesomest podcast we've done so far, Ernest Get Stupid. I think that's VB gold right there.
I've got to look up the statistics, man, of of how many views or listens we've actually had on that podcast. It would be interesting. I might try to pull that up while you guys are talking, just so we can see.
I thought it came out good. I know it was a late night, and there was a bit of booze and discontent for the movie involved, but I thought the podcast itself came out good. Not as good as the movie itself, but.
All right. On that note, I'm going to pop this wonderful Guinness here.
Jesus. You did pop that. Is that a cork?
It's beautiful. It's got this beautiful sound from the ball that's inside that's constantly turning the beer. Like, they revolutionized canned beer. It's. I haven't had Guinness in a while, and going back to it after being in the craft scene, I'm like, damn, these guys have perfected it. How to can beer, like the head on it's always perfect down to the last drop. I mean, everything. No, this isn't a sales pitch, so this is just good quality beer that I'm like drinking from all my time. It's time to take a break from the IPA until Christmas Day.
Yeah, sponsor us, Guinness, sponsor us.
Oh yeah, man, I wish. Come, let us stay at the Guinness factory for a week, and we'll podcast live from St. James Gate.
Yeah. That'd be cool. Yeah, casting from the top of fucking Dublin in the Sky Bar.
Oh my God, dude! They'd have to drag us out. Every night they'd be dragging us out to throw us in the cab to send us back to wherever the hell they'd put us up.
Oh yeah, that's if we could even walk with all the Guinness stew and shit they got there. The food's amazing.
Yeah, so good.
Is it though?
It is, man. Yeah. Their food is so good. It's like the stews are different there. So if you ask for like a chicken stew or something, everything's pureed for the most part. So you're not going to get like a American like watery stew with like potatoes floating around in it. Mm-hmm. It's like everything seems to be pureed. It's like an actual soup where you can sip.
I get that, but my in my travels, I always say the UK is pretty much the worst place for food out of everywhere.
Well, that's why they separated, my boy.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
When I was in London for like 3 days, I thought that was the food kind of sucked. I just got fish and chips everywhere. That's it. I couldn't eat anything else. It all looked like crap.
The worst part about London is the fact that like all of those little bars, like Bag of Nails, that was my favorite spot. They're all chain. It's like a chain. So it's like, well, the menu here, my friend, is going to be the menu you get at the other spot. And I'm like, well, that sucks. I was looking for more like local, flavor. And we went to some like exotic restaurant that was like, you can get lion and gazelle and all sorts of weird shit. And I wasn't looking for that either. So yeah.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, Kevin, do you remember if that restaurant was on the river?
That's a good question. It was, honestly, that restaurant was down the street from the Palace. So it was like walking distance to the Palace.
I got you, because I think I remember that place. I don't know if I ate there or just walked by, but I think I remember the name of that place. But it could have been, we could have talked about it before, too. So.
It was directly across the street from Bag of Nails.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
So it's Christmas, and we decided that we were going to do a Christmas horror movie. Why not, right? I think we did one last year. Was last year? I mean, I could look, but did we do Black Christmas for last Christmas?
No, Krampus last year. Black Christmas was the year before.
Nice. Year before.
Holy shit. Jesus.
Yeah.
I know, it's weird to think about that, huh? Isn't it? Because I was thinking about that earlier.
Wow. Yeah.
All right, Marcos, is it cool if I kick this one off?
Yeah, go ahead. Do your thing, bro.
All right. So we are doing 1984's Gremlins. IMDb 7.3. We got a budget of 11 million. Box office. And remember, this is just box office. 213 million.
Wow.
You know, that's not including video games. They merchandise the fuck out of this movie. So, running out kind of long too, an hour and 46 minutes, which I thought was kind of long for like a comedy horror type Christmas movie. But
did you think it felt that long though?
It doesn't feel that long. But
Right.
then when I first turned it on, I'm like, oh, maybe I got like the special edition one, or maybe there's like, but I'm like, wow, the movie's just genuinely that long, but it doesn't feel that long. Just like National Treasure.
Awesome. Because it's
Yes.
awesome. Gremlins is a national treasure.
It is. So, written by the Christopher Columbus, who also wrote The Goonies and Kevin's favorite movie, the Christmas Chronicles Part 2.
Yeah, man, Chris Columbus, he's just like an amazing writer. He's done so much great work, especially through the 80s.
Dude, and the shit he produced too, like a bunch of the Harry Potters, Home Alone, Adventures in Babysitting, like a ton. It's like endless what he's done.
Yep.
Executive producer Steven Spielberg, and then produced by Michael Fennell, and then special effects Rick Barker, and then directed by John Dante, who did The Howling, The Burbs, Gremlins 2, and up to recently Nightmare Cinema.
And that's it's Joe Dante.
Joe Dante. What did I say, John?
John, yeah.
Yeah, Joe.
No disrespect, Joe. No disrespect.
Yeah, I didn't mean it. I swear. So the story follows a young man who receives a strange creature called a Mogwai as a pet, which spawns other creatures who transform into small. Oh, fuck me, pink. The story follows a young man who receives a strange creature called a Mogwai as a pet, which then spawns other creatures who transform into small, destructive, evil monsters that wreak havoc on a whole town Christmas Eve. Okay, got that out. Fuck.
Vintage Burn listeners, please disregard Doug. He just finished learning how to read.
And before you continue, I just want to talk about this because this has come up on the podcast 1,000 times about the
me not be able to read
rating. What?
Is that me not being able to read has come up on the podcast a million times?
Yeah, that too. But about the PG-13 rating, we remember how we've always debated like Airplane, why it's PG and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what happened is Spielberg released Indiana Jones and the Temple of Dooms and Gremlins. They were both under his umbrella, and they were both PG. So a lot of parents complained that it wasn't they both weren't very kid friendly. So what happened, instead of making them an R, Steven Spielberg actually went to the MPAA, which is the board that decides these things, and he pitched an idea to have a rating in between PG and R. So that's how the PG-13 rating came up. Gremlins was partly responsible for that.
No shit. I mean, it makes sense. Like why have either like kid shit and like adult stuff? What about the teenagers?
Mm-hmm.
And that way,
that's why. Yeah, go ahead.
Like you were saying, I know a lot of parents kind of went into this movie thinking it was like a cutesy Christmas movie, even though the name was Gremlins. But and we're pretty shocked by it's kind of, I don't say gory, but pretty violent at times.
Yeah, it has some really gory parts that it should be per PG-13. But why I bring that up is because we've discussed Airplane multiple times on this podcast,
yes.
And that's why that now we know why it didn't at least have a PG-13, even though in today's standards it'd be an R. But anyway, the first PG-13 movie, just so you know, is 1984's Red Dawn. That's my thing.
Red Dawn, no shit. Interesting.
Yep, that was the first one ever. Wolverines.
Shit, I was gonna say something about. Oh, so this also came out the same day as Ghostbusters, the first one, which is kind of interesting that they had two potential like blockbusters released the same day. But I guess box office wise, they pretty much were neck and neck. And then I don't know who ended up finishing because this was re-released so this was released June 8th, 1984, which I was always kind of strange. But you know what? It's smart though. If you're gonna pop this in kids' head in June, and then 6 months later, it's gonna be Christmas time. You're gonna be able to give yourself some time to pump all that merchandise, the stuffed animals, they made Atari games, they made action figures, so they were at first like a June release date seems kind of strange, but from a marketing standpoint, it actually seems brilliant because it gives you time to see if it's gonna be a flop or a fucking like Waterworld. You guys remember Waterworld?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like that was like I think still like one of the biggest Lost type movies ever. And they made so many, they thought it was going to be this big blockbuster, and they made so many fucking toys. And I remember getting them like 5 for $10, or $1 a piece for these big, expensive action figures at KB Toys and stuff, So they were smart. They did it the right way with Gremlins.
That movie was supposed to be like the Mad Max version of like Fish and Water.
Yes. Dry land is not a myth. I've seen it.
Yeah, going back to what you were saying about the movies. So it came out in 1984, like you said, and it actually was the 4th highest grossing movie. I don't have the numbers, but it was the 4th highest grossing movie of the year. The reason they moved it from being a Christmas movie to June is because Warner Brothers didn't have a summer movie to put up against Ghostbusters. So that's why they moved it. And the 3 movies that finished ahead of it were Beverly Hills Cop, Ghostbusters, and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. That was the 3 that grossed higher.
Speaking of a Christmas movie released in June, listener here, John DeVito show just said that Wonderful Life, It's a Wonderful Life was released in June, which is interesting too. Like that's a full-on Christmas movie, old school, classic Christmas movie, and they released it in June, which is weird.
And I believe it makes an appearance in Gremlins.
Oh,
it does.
Good tie-in. Good tie-in.
Yep.
Nice one, John. That's good.
Yeah, the thing about Gremlins, though, what I loved, and I didn't get all the info on what movies, I loved how they always had like old movies on in the background. And there's like at least 4 scenes where he's watching something, sci-fi or It's a Wonderful Life or whatever. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's always good to see a little nod, especially the old black and white ones. And this is 30 years ago, and that's them watching something that was probably 20, 30 years old then,
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure.
Just like in Halloween 3, they after tonight's award-winning movie, Halloween,
Right. Yeah, I love when they do that. I love when they throw in Easter eggs in different movies, which just to classifies Gremlins as a Christmas movie. I mean, that's just kind of like Die Hard, right? People are, it's not a Christmas movie. It's an action It's an action Christmas movie. Takes place at Christmas.
Yeah. But this has like a Santa being attacked, that whole Phoebe Cates story where she tells about her dad. So it has some Christmas tie-ins more than I would say Die Hard to an extent anyway.
Yeah.
Well, from
Die Hard is number 1, but go ahead, Doug. I'm sorry.
I would say, what's the girl's name in this? Phoebe? No, Kate. I would say Kate's father died hard in that chimney with that sad fucking story. Dude, so I guess they wanted to. Steven Spielberg wanted to cut that out, but they decided to leave it in because fucking Dante there was. He felt like that scene was like the essence of the movie, which I thought was I think it's kind of weird. I mean, you have like little cute Gizmo, doing blinky eye stuff, and Howie Mandel actually did his voice too, which I didn't know. And then you have her telling this super like morbid story, and then like back to Gizmo doing cute baby stuff. I'm like, I don't know how to feel.
Yeah, but the thing about it is she's morbid throughout the movie. There's even that part earlier when they're walking home from the bar before the Gremlins even land, and she's all talking about how suicide is, most prevalent around the holidays, and then even
that's
Billy was like, "Oh, now I'm depressed." but going back to that story though, she tells about her dad. The sad part about the story is he was missing for 3 weeks, and the whole time he just had a broken neck in the chimney.
Yeah, with a handful of toys.
So that's why she hates Christmas.
I don't blame her. I would too. Fuck.
But yeah, man, I love the fact. I like the way it opens though too, where his dad is like this like substandard inventor, and he's trying to sell his bathroom buddy, which I want one just as a collector's item. But that thing has got to be the hardest thing to use on the planet.
Oh my word, yeah.
it's like it's got to be like 5 inches. Like it's ridiculous.
Imagine trying to shape like a brick.
Yeah.
But it's funny because like it's the parents are so like genuine and nice. You know, I can imagine. You know, I mean, we were me and Kevin were born in '85. I know you were born a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
I can just imagine like just like a simpler time. You know what I mean? You can kind of see that in like the parents. It's like, you know, like she's making one of his inventions, and she's making the coffee, and it's coming out like sludge. And I don't think we can drink this. You know, and they're like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Ha ha ha. You know, it's weird how some aspects are kind of like very. It could be like family oriented, and then in other scenes, you know,
that's totally Spielberg. Yeah. I mean, every movie he does has that like prime Americana feel to it.
Yeah, yes. You know what's funny about that is like this movie actually the writer, who wrote it, I forget.
Chris Columbus.
Oh yeah, Chris Columbus. Yeah. So I guess he didn't even expect the script to like go anywhere. He didn't expect it to do nothing, but somehow it landed on Spielberg's desk, and he's like, I love the idea. I've never seen anything like this before, so he bought it, and that's how the movie came to be. But in Christopher Columbus's first write-up of the movie, it was supposed to be much darker. Like the Gremlins were supposed to eat Billy's dog. They were supposed to decapitate the mother, and it was supposed to be a lot more gory. Yeah, which is great. Imagine seeing that version. I would have loved to have seen that version, like the really like scary and like the Gremlins weren't originally supposed to have like dialogue, and you know they can read and stuff, which is weird. You know, like when they're outside Mrs. Deagle's house and the one's like Deagle, 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 Deagle. They're doing Christmas carols. They're doing all types of crazy stuff.
Jeez, I think that's what's so fun about it, you know, because you know me, I'm the one that's like, how does this gremlin know basic electricity, you know, enough to change the lights, you know? But I'm like, you know what, you're just gonna look back and just enjoy it, especially the 7-minute bar scene where they're just like partying, eating popcorn, swinging from chandeliers, like it's just fucking, it's fun. It's just a fun fucking movie.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what leads to it, man. That's what makes it great, man. And it's well done fun though. It's not like, you know, this, you know, just fun for the sake of being fun. It's still a good movie, man. It still has a good plot line to an extent. I mean, you could also, you know, you could deconstruct it. I mean, like the whole eating past midnight. What about time zones and stuff? How do they know? You know, like, but you can't think about that. Yeah, you can't even think about that stuff too hard because it's going to ruin it for you. You got to take it as a fun ride, and that's what it is, man.
I know we covered this before when we did Poltergeist, but Spielberg, he's always walked that fine line of horror, and I wish he would just cross it completely and give it a shot because I think he could do an incredible job. I mean, look what Poltergeist, right? What is it? Poltergeist came out around the time of E.T., I think.
A little bit after. But I got a connection. Finish your point. I got a connection for you.
He wanted to pull that movie or pull his name from that movie because he was like, no, I don't want to be associated with it because obviously he was probably making a ton of money going in the direction of kid-friendly PG movies, and Poltergeist was far from that at the time, right? So it's like he's always been on the fence with it. I mean, Jurassic Park, you know. I mean, Jurassic Park, it could have gone. It could have even been more horrific than it was. I think they again, he just kind of walked the line there. I know Doug is out for kids. We were kids when that came out, and I was like, it's scary and awesome, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little older than you, and I thought it was pretty scary to an extent, especially that T-Rex scene. You know, like there was certain parts, definitely, yeah.
Oh, the lamb on the fucking sunroof.
That too, or the one just with the T-Rex, it's the rain and it's the two cars and he tears one of the cars up with the kids and all that stuff.
Memorable.
You know, that part.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And even like that jump scare with, what's his name? The fat dude from Seinfeld there. Was it Dennis Nedry in the movie? I think it's Dennis Nedry.
That's not the magic.
And then he's got like that cute little dinosaur, and he's like, "Oh, you're not gonna hurt me." Then all of a sudden, like something flaps out of his head, and he spits venom in his face. That's like, I remember seeing that in the theaters and jumping, like that was like a jump scare, you know.
How could we forget Samuel L. Jackson, motherfucker?
Oh, I remember him, but I don't remember him having a memorable death or anything.
No, I think that was one of his first movies where he was getting a bigger role.
It might have been, yeah, because Pulp Fiction was like what broke him, and that was probably a year or two later, so makes sense.
Yeah.
Wait, Samuel L. Jackson was in Jurassic Park?
Yes,
He was in everything. He was in Goodfellas.
What was he in Jurassic Park? I cannot pick.
He was a scientist.
his
He was a
character.
scientist or a computer technician that was working. He was the one smoking, and he was the one that said, "Hold on to your butts." And he was like when the park was going down, and he was inside. He was trying to crack the code from Dennis and Dre, and so yeah, he was the one that was like calling him a fat slob and stuff like that.
You are 100% correct. It's been that long since I've seen it. I totally fucking fall. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. Don't listen to me. I don't know anything.
I knew he was right too. I remember. I actually watched that movie somewhat recently, so I actually watched the first 3. I don't know why I wasted my time with part 3 though. But the good part was it's a very short ride. It's only like an hour and 20 minutes. It's such a all right, whatever. Now this is turning into the Jurassic Park podcast. But
So
now back to my connection though with E.T. Gremlins was actually the first movie ever used with the Amblin Entertainment logo. With the E.T. logo at the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
Is that still used?
Yeah.
I believe it is. Yeah.
Today?
I believe it is. Yep. But that was my connection when he mentioned E.T.
Right.
E.T. So.
What do you
So the other,
what do you guys think of Gremlins 2?
Loved it. Loved it.
Okay.
gonna
I
have
love
to watch it.
You haven't seen it, or it's just been a long time?
Don't think I've ever actually seen it, to be honest with you.
Oh, dude.
Now, is it true that Gremlins 2 is a little more like of a dark comedy where, like, I know the first one kind of was too, but is it like, is it more like slapstick, or is it more kind of just same page, or is it more like darker and like more violent?
No. I think it's very similar, and I actually don't think it's as dark, personally. I mean, it has a lot of like spoofy stuff. Like it has Gizmo dressing up as Rambo, shooting a bow and arrow. He has like the bandana on and everything. Try to kill those dudes.
More comedy slapstick definitely than dark.
Yeah, I don't remember it being too dark. There might be a few scenes. I haven't seen it in a while, but I've seen the movie a lot when I was younger. I mean,
I love the
no comparison to the original.
The female with the red lipstick that's like walking down the aisle, and that guy is just like. Da, 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 da.
All right, I'm gonna put that on top of my list because now I'm intrigued. But
yeah, it's a good movie. A little bit different premise, but it's still the same stuff with the don't feed whatever. But I mean, it's just the setting is much different.
I'm surprised this hasn't been rebooted yet.
They're making a third one apparently.
What?
I got it here.
Like a season.
Let me see.
Is it a show?
I'll get to it in a second. It's right here. The Gremlins did spawn a sequel. Hold on, give me a second. It totally bought the idea.
2021, supposedly.
Okay, so it's been being talked about since 2017 though.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's going to be a reboot actually.
Okay, because I thought I saw it on either Wiki or IMDb earlier, and it said like 2020 or 2021 dash, like almost like it was going to be like a series, but I don't know how you could drag this out into a series.
Animated series.
Yep. Yeah. Well, yeah. The Warner Brothers announced that it greenlit an animated series based on the classic dark comedy. So that could be what you're referring to, Doug.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's what I saw. I can't read the words. I just have to look at the pictures and the numbers. I don't know.
Hey, so just so the audience knows, our 4 or 5 listeners know, we're not doing this typical. We're just talking about our favorite scenes and stuff and running through it in a different way. Just because everybody's seen this movie, I'm pretty sure we all approve of the movie. So we decided, whatever, let's just talk about like behind the scenes stuff and our favorite scenes and stuff like that, just to preface.
Give us a break. It's Christmas, all right?
Yeah, we wanted to be, and plus we didn't feel like doing all the work.
By the way, we just got to say, so we were contacted a couple days ago by a podcast data site, and for whatever reason, I think Ireland's finally lost its mind from COVID, but people like us, I guess, out there. So we want to thank, it's probably Keith McCoy, and that's it. So thanks, Keith, for getting us to number 57 on the film podcast charts. I mean, that is awesome. We don't know why the hell you guys are even listening to us, but But if it's just because of Keith and he's the only listener out there, then thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ireland and Keith.
Yeah, and honestly, if we can ever get the hell off this rock here in the U.S., man, I'm telling you, if any of our Ireland listeners ever want us to come, if you can find a pub or something where we could do some horror movies and live podcasting, and we can get put up in Ireland for a week or something, even for 3 days, let us know. We'll fucking be there in a heartbeat.
I'm already there.
Yeah, that would be sweet. I'd love to live podcast from a pub somewhere.
One last little factoid I had before I forget, which I thought was pretty cool. We didn't really talk about the special effects in this, but allegedly there was no CGI and most of the Gremlins were animatronics. Each Gremlin was about $30,000 to $40,000. So at the end of the day, they would have to, when people were leaving from the set, security would check their cars and their trunks to make sure they weren't trying to take off with an animatronic gizmo or Gremlin, because God knows what those things are worth now.
Yeah, leading into that, do you know what the original idea to do the Gremlins was, Doug? Do you have that?
I don't think, no.
Yeah, originally they tried to use trained monkeys.
Oh, yes.
But when they tried putting makeup on them and like suits on them, the monkeys would run away. So they were like, "Oh, we can't do this." Yeah, so they originally tried to use trained monkeys because there was no CGI at that point. CGI wasn't even invented yet. So they were like trying to find a way to make them move well, and they knew the puppetry would cost too much, but that really killed the budget of the movie though too. Even though I think it's still a great movie, but the puppets I think took up
way better.
Yeah. No, it made it way better, but they I don't know. Anyway, it took up a large chunk of the budget.
I think the monkeys would have killed it. They wouldn't have looked right. That would have been strange.
Right. I'm glad they were scared. They ended up, because I think it would have been weird too. Still want to see the darker version of the movie though. That would look
trained monkeys
with monkey heads. So they used the same Kingston Falls. It's the same set they use for Back to the Future too.
Yes, it is.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And if you see the go ahead, Doug.
No, go ahead. I'm gonna go somewhere completely different.
No. If you see the part right after when it opens, like the credit scene, you could see the clock tower on the right, and you could see the square. You could tell it's from Back to the Future. That's where you could really see it the most, is that opening scene.
Did you know that? Did you know that before rewatching it, or did you I know that scene, I know this city?
No, I had no idea. In preparing for the movie, what I wanted to do, like I said, was just get facts about it and stuff, and kind of talk about it. And so I had it on repeat, and I found the few sites that I'm actually on my computer and reading off lists, and I found a few sites that had points, and then. So for the whole movie, it was after that part, I started watching it, and I'm like, it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it. But then I have it on a flash drive, so it restarts every time. And then when I saw the beginning again, I'm like, there it is. And it was awesome, man. You see that clock tower. You don't see the front of it, but you see the side. And you can tell that's the same building, same square, same everything.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So it's always fun to see when they use the same sets for stuff. It's kind of reminiscent.
And it was actually pre Back to the Future too, so.
Yes, that's true too. They stole their set, right?
And nobody likes to shovel their stairs in this movie either, by the way.
Right.
That's another thing I noticed.
I can understand, the whole point of the Gremlins, and they're a smart demon creature, but when shit hits the fan, there's only 5 people out in the streets, and then that's it. The two it's just the kids just trying to. It's kids versus Gremlins.
Right,
the second half of the movie, but. So this movie stars a very young Corey Feldman, which I always think is weird that a year later in the Goonies, he's a fucking teenager almost, But in this, he's almost like a child. It's almost like he aged 7 years in that 1 year between this and in the Goonies.
Yeah, he's on the cusp. He was probably in Friday the 13th Part 4 the year before this, right? That was probably 83 or something. So, he was it seems like he was a little kid, and he grew a little bit more, and then all of a sudden he's just manned up. His balls dropped, and it was over.
His balls dropped, and he never became older than 15 years old.
Yes, that's true.
He stopped aging right there.
Yeah. Well,
And then what was
I
the
don't know
Lost
if he meant
Boys,
mentally or
86?
physically.
Both.
Something like
I'm
that.
guessing
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah, I'm guessing both.
I think Lost
87.
I'm guessing 87. Yeah, if I had to guess 87.
Man, he had
I can get it. I'm on IMDb.
He had a busy 80s, huh?
Oh yeah, he was one of the biggest '80s stars.
Yeah, him and Haim, man, they were the Coreys, dude.
Yeah, they were massive. They were massive.
I would like
I'll
a lot
get it
better
on
if he
right
didn't
here.
always talk like this.
And then he
So,
never recovered from the '80s, which is sad. But I mean, obviously he hasn't really done much except for like Lost Boys 15 or whatever it is that they're on now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Lost Boys was 87, and then actually Friday the 13th and Gremlins came out in the same year.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
So.
Wow. Yeah.
He's a busy kid.
And I just feel bad for those child actors. I know that we could do a whole podcast just on that, but like those kids they get their childhoods like ripped away from them, and they're exposed to too much too soon. Plus, I mean, if it's true, he's been coming out about all the pedophilia rings in Hollywood and everything else, and it's just must be fucking tough. You never hear of like a childhood actor that comes out normal, or very very rarely.
Yeah, it's rare. It's very rare. Yep, I agree.
Except for my Selena Gomez turned out all right, especially for ex-Disney stuff.
You don't know yet. She might lose her mind
true.
eventually.
I don't
That's
know.
true.
She's another one that looks like she can't be older than 12 years old, and she's like 30.
She's 28.
You would know. You would know.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever
I
seen
think-
anything with Selena Gomez in it.
The
Doug?
only movie I've seen was the Dead Don't Die, or whatever it was, with Bill Murray, and it was she couldn't even save that movie, and that's saying a lot coming from me. She couldn't even save that.
Wow.
I didn't see it because how bad you spoke of it, so I was like, screw that, I ain't watching that shit.
Yeah, I was so fucking bummed. I'm like, Bill Murray. I'm like, that dude from Star Wars and that other crazy guy, Selena. But no, fucking.
It was bad, huh?
Terrible. Did you see it, Kev?
No. Well, you said it was terrible, so I did the same thing. I was like, nah.
Yeah. Honestly, save your money.
I mean, honestly,
Actually,
I can't.
you know what,
watch
Kevin?
another zombie movie.
It might be good because Doug thinks Ernest Scared Stupid is good. So so maybe it's like a reverse thing,
Wow.
Come on, I was good with Wolf Cop, right? So I'm like batting 500 at least.
Yeah.
All right, you're at the 5 skis. I got you. We'll give you that.
All right, cool.
Yeah, you're not the only person that told me that Dead Don't Die sucks. Kevin, cousin Kevin, also told me.
Oh, and he's pretty good with movies too. So
Yeah, I agree.
usually
He's
trust
actually
his
got a
opinion.
pretty good. Yeah, I do too. Yeah, absolutely.
I kind of miss this format where we just kind of talk about the movie and just talk about the fun stuff, the facts and stuff. I like doing like the write up, but sometimes it gets too, especially a movie like this, where it'd be like, and then the Gremlins ran into this room, and this happened. You know what I mean? There's too much going on, like on some movies. Like The Conjuring was a great movie to do a write up because it's like even the write up was like suspenseful, like talking about it. But like something like this, like Night of the Demons, like I don't know. I think there's certain movies that need different formats as far as like the casting goes.
Sure, I'm okay with that, man. Like I said, when I was thinking about this last night, I'm like, why do a write up for it? Like everybody has seen this movie.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, then you have to watch it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's crazy
and
not to. Just give it a chance.
Unless you're really young, maybe you haven't, but like if you're anywhere in our age group, you've seen this. In your 20s, I'm pretty sure you've seen this. And it's just a famous ass movie. It did really well. It's a classic. It's a Christmas classic.
Yeah.
It's one of my like few Christmas movies that I will actually watch.
Yep.
And mine are no wholesome here.
If you guys haven't checked out our previous podcast from season 1 and 2, check out our Christmas podcast. We did Krampus last year, and as we stated earlier, we also did Black Christmas, the original. So original Black Christmas, the only Black Christmas. I did hear that this dude who has a YouTube channel His name's Dave McRae. I don't know. I guess he's like a famous voice actor or something. He's a huge Halloween fan, but also a huge Black Christmas fan. So he is putting together, or already has put together, I think it's called Billy, but it's supposed to be a sequel to Black Christmas, and it's a fan filmed movie that he got a budget for, and it looks really, really good. The preview for it, so you guys should check it out on YouTube. It looks awesome, and he does a killer job with that voice too.
All right, I'll definitely check that out. I did enjoy the original Black Christmas. The remake,
yeah.
If there wasn't a bunch of friggin' like smokes in the remake, even that wasn't watchable. Watching it on mute. But
Well,
the first remake, the first one, right?
The first one, yeah. I haven't seen the second remake.
Yeah, the one that came out like 10 years ago. Yeah, that one. I haven't seen it either. I haven't seen either or. So
the recent one, I don't think anybody watched it.
Yeah, I'm scared of remakes. Ever since we did My Bloody Valentine and we had to watch that remake, that was horrible. I'm scared of them. I don't like to watch them anymore. Screw remakes.
Any other Christmas horror movies you guys enjoy or recommend? I know one of the listeners out there, John DeVito, said Silent Night, Deadly Night. Personally, I wasn't. That's too campy for me. I thought I sat through it, I watched it, but I was like, meh. It's a cult classic. But I'm just not. For me, I was like, nah. It was way too much like My Bloody Valentine, in my opinion. Like that kind of boring.
Yeah, it's. I haven't seen it since I was younger, but I did like it. I remember liking the first one. After that, I don't remember any of the other ones. I know part 2 was just basically 97% of part 1. Or whatever. Scenes from part 1 for some weird reason.
And with like 4% nun sex. It's just like
yeah.
I don't know. If you've seen the first one, then you've seen the second one. Just imagine like Christian woman type of negative music video playing with like Silent Night, Deadly Night. And that's basically the second one.
Sounds terrible.
Wolf Cop is a great Christmas movie. The second one.
Oh, it is. Actually, it is. Yeah, you're right. It is a Christmas movie.
I rewatched that. I meant to rewatch it after the original Wolf Cop podcast, and I just got around to watching the second one. And did you guys watch the second one yet?
Yeah, I bought it.
Yeah, I bought it. I didn't buy it, but not as much as the first one.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I mean, the first one is just because it's the first one. It's a classic compared to the second, but I thought the second one was really well done.
I mean, they just took the whole idea and just ran with it, which I thought was awesome. You know what I mean? They had a good storyline. They had. You had the villain, you had the hero, you had Willie. Willie back. And then there's, sexy Lycan sisters, and I don't know. All right, I know it's for another time, and we're on the Gremlins podcast, but I was just curious if you guys got around to it.
Did you just pause it at the dong scene, the wolf dong, and leave it there, Doug?
Yeah. You remember for the longest time that was my background on my fucking phone? You made it for me.
There was way more wolf cock in this than there was in the first one.
Yeah, there was. Put that thing away. You're gonna poke an eye out. A lot of people say it was like kind of rushed, which it might have been, it might not have been, but I thought it was fun. It's definitely slapstick. It's definitely got some great like jokes in it. Different ideas that kind of go along with that whole kind of genre. So
yeah, I'm actually going through lists of Christmas horror movies, and I guess I don't watch too many Christmas horror movies because I don't know most of these.
Don't watch Christmas Evil. It was kind of, I don't know, a lot of people like it, but it was kind of slow and very strange.
Christmas Evil. Yeah, see, my Christmas watching is typically like Gremlins, Christmas Vacation, Bad Santa, and Die Hard, and Lethal Weapon. Those are my Christmas movies. I don't watch anything wholesome. I don't like wholesome shit. So I watch nothing like that. I can't watch A Christmas Story anymore because it got beat to death when I was a kid.
I love that movie.
I would go, screw that movie, man. That movie sucks. And the reason I say that is I loved it when I was younger, but my cousin, she used to watch. I don't know. No. But the movies run 24 hours a day. I think it's on TBS or something every Christmas.
Yep.
Right? And literally, I would have to go over there, and that movie would just be on repeat every Christmas. So I'd be there for 8 hours. I'd have to watch the movie 4 fucking times.
Yeah.
And it just got old to me, and I can't get myself to watch it anymore. It's unfortunate because I know it is a good movie, but it just it got killed. It's like what's that music, Doug? Like Alice in Chains, or who's a band that you always talk about? You got killed. Somebody just by over being played. We talked about it before. I just can't remember who it was.
Probably Down. I know Down was killed.
Yeah. Yeah. But there was another band you mentioned. But anyway, it's like that, man. I just can't go back to it. I just can't do it.
I mean, if it's on, there's a few parts I'll like sit there and watch, maybe once. But then, after that, it is. I don't say they killed it, but they kind of killed it.
This isn't even Christmas, but I've been getting into. I'm gonna rewatch all of Game of Thrones just because it's a winter show, so I'm gonna rewatch all of Game of Thrones again. But I've been hardcore into Star Wars. It's fucking balls deep in it. Yeah, man, balls deep in Star Wars now. I'm like just a big Star Wars nerd.
Are you watching The Mandalorian?
Yeah, I watched that already, both seasons.
See, I haven't watched the second season, so no spoilers. But yeah, I love the first. The first season's unbelievable. I really good, and I heard the second one's actually eclipsing it. So,
yeah.
What do you think of that? You can answer that.
I think it's amazing, and with they just added Dolby Atmos for it too and stuff. So sound quality wise, they really put in a lot of amazing effects, man. So that show is what sold me on going back and revisiting and kind of. So I was never really a Star Wars fan. I was like, yeah, it's cool. I don't know. And obviously with the podcast and stuff, as we get into like how much we appreciate practical effects, it's just really kind of helped like revive a love for a genre or even like a series I never really, I don't know. I just didn't give it the time of day. I mean, and I don't know why. I mean, it was obviously it came out years before us. And I know as kids, like our friends played with toys that were like their brothers prior. And I kind of like, I've always known what the series was, but I just never, for whatever reason, just never cared to like really sit and give it time. And I've watched everything, like everything.
Yeah, when I was growing up, like the original trilogy was always on TV, always. So I'd watch it all the time, just on regular cable. And plus, we had the toys and stuff too, because I was still young enough. When I was young, even though it was a few years later after the movie, I remember having, but the toys were around. You could still buy them in stores and stuff.
Oh, sure.
When I was a kid, yeah, and like I was a big G.I. Joe guy, but
it's a wicked popular series. You know what I mean? It just like it from 77 on, it just like exploded.
Yeah, I don't know. I have the consistency of the movies to me kill me, man, because I don't like the series they started with the Phantom Menace, like episodes 1, 2, and 3. I can't get into that shit. I can't do it. The new ones were okay, but the original trilogy just dwarfs anything, and The Mandalorian. That's all I really care for to rewatch is those two things.
Have you seen the stories? Have you seen the side stories that they're injecting? So,
you know what?
Rogue One,
I do
Solo.
like. Yeah, I love Rogue One. I thought Solo was a little whatever, but Rogue One is actually really good too. I forgot about that one. Yep. Yeah, that's a good movie. I saw that in the theaters.
I like the new trilogy a lot, personally. I think it's second best to the original trilogy. I don't
without a doubt.
I don't care for the first 3 prequels either. I think they were just Lucas was also trying to use. So I don't know if you guys knew this, but he created Pixar. Before it was Pixar, it was something else, and he sold it, and then Pixar officially owns it. So, but Lucas is like I can't believe how much of a genius he is, really. And he wanted to use that software, in the first 3, and I just think they did a shitty job with it. Unfortunately, the technology just wasn't there yet when they did those, and I mean they went too deep into it. So when I watch it, like all the fake back screens and shit, I'm like, I just have a hard time watching them. I'm like, this is awful.
I mean, even the storylines in those ones just like aren't appealing. Like it's like all drawn out. This is where we need Duncan to join us because he'll play devil's advocate on our opinions, but like, yeah, he's like you get like the Attack of the Clones. It's just the story's so freaking drawn out. The only cool thing in that is you see Yoda fight, which is awesome, where he's flipping around doing crazy shit. I like that part.
It's a really shitty CGI Yoda. It's not even a good.
Yeah, I know.
So that's my thing. Is like I wish they would have just kept it practical and did what they did, where they injected. He wanted to inject a couple CGI moments where he felt like he couldn't get the practical effects right, which I understand, but they just went balls deep in balls deep in CGI for 1 through 3, and I was like, oh my god, this is terrible. Just everything looks so fake.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they did an amazing job. I even watched that documentary, man, the 2.5 hour, like watching them like make a giant, fucking ship out of styrofoam and then filming it up close. It just looks so real. I mean, that original trilogy, those practical effects were groundbreaking. Everything looked so real, in my opinion. They looked like real ships. That's what you want. We need to. I hope more filmmakers bring that back. I know it's time consuming, but I prefer practical effects. I mean, it's incredible what people can do with their hands.
Mm-hmm. So we should label this podcast Gremlins for a little while, then a bunch of other shit.
Gremlins.
That's cool. I'm cool with that. No, I'm cool. I'm cool with just having a free-form conversation. It's nice. Doug, do you have anything? Doug, do you have anything to add on Star Wars?
No, I'm not incredibly well versed, so that's why I was keeping mum.
On that note, we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, whatever the fuck you celebrate. Thank you guys very much for listening. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram, Vintage Burn Podcast. I'm Kev.
Marco.
And going to drop a Yule log now, Doug.
Oh, God.